Hello everybody, welcome to a new episode of How to DIY. And in today's episode I'm going to show you how to fix your common problems you have with your PC that is all the time crashing, or Windows stops working for like 50% and you need to reset it all the time to get the full 100% Windows working again. And the main problem that causes this issue is dust. It's dusty in the vacuums, in the cooling fans, in between the cooling fans, above the processor, the power supply, and of course your video card that has, in my case, two fans. And the safest way to clean it is just keeping all the components in its place and then using a brush and a vacuum cleaner, of course, and dust it all out. But the best way to clean it, because there are connection points from the video card to the motherboard that are the golden plates. Those get corroded and needs to be taken out, removed, cleaned up and pushed back in to make it really a good connection again. That will fix 9 out of 10 problems and cleaning all the dust. My dad has repaired thousands of PCs. Everybody in the village came with the PC when they're having problems. And 9 out of 10 times he was just connecting and disconnecting and reconnecting everything and cleaning it out, and it fixed most problems, really. And first step, I'm going to do a full cleaning out and disassembly of the PC and then a reassembly to clean it properly. I don't recommend this first step for you guys, because most of the time the cooling fan of the processor, they got some kind of paste between the processor and the cooling fan that keeps it together, and you need some new paste if you want to do this perfect cleaning like I'm doing over here. And for me it's just easy. I can just disconnect my cooling fan from my processor. That is my processor, made in Germany. Normally there's some paste in between, but I just need to get it clean again and get it full contact. But you can see it's a really nice cooling fan, but it's full with dust. Normally you should be looking in between through it, but it's just full with dust. We really need to clean it properly, so it's best way to remove it. But some people have paste, so it's not recommended for everybody. And the second step is going to remove the video card. Already removed the screws, and then I have to click there, and then I can pull up one side and then pull up the other side, remove the lock again, and do this very carefully and disconnect the wires. I'm just gonna put it to the side, but again you can see it's dusty. Normally there's no way to get there, only by disassembling it. And at the same time we can make the connection points clean again, make sure nothing is broke. They are all perfectly. This one looks to be damaged, but it's not. It's supposed to be like that, I know that for sure. But you need to check that you didn't lose any of the gold plates. And then we're gonna clean inside, vacuum it out, get some Q-tips and make it really clean with alcohol. Then if you really want to clean it, you also take out your processor chips and push them back in to make a good connection again. Or you can also take out the motherboard and clean underneath it if it's really necessary. And we're gonna take out the power supply, because that really needs some cleaning. You can see how much cooling there is in a big fan and how much dust that attracts. So 4 little simple screws and a few cables. Now the cables are really, you know, one big piece of octopus. It needs to stay together. It's really hard to move around. I'm thinking about leaving the motherboard because I can clean it here from the upside where the most important pieces are. But well, now we're just going to remove all the cables and just carefully pull on them gently. We just wiggle it around, safe and gentle. And of course there's another cooling fan in the front that we have to cool down, or have to clean up. Not a lot of dust in the top, but there's a lot of dust going below and circling around inside the computer. So let's get the vacuum cleaner on and start cleaning. To get the processor cooling fan cleaner, we're going to remove the top fan from it. It's just 2 clips. It have to be hold up a little bit. and just be gentle and carefully and see how much dust comes up here where we normally never get to, but this is really hurting the processor. So to get it proper clean, I think it's always handy to clean off, of course, your processor, your fans with the vacuum cleaner close by, sucking up the dust straight away so it doesn't contaminate the rest of your PC. And that's always pretty smart. And we're just going to have a quick look and check all the nooks and crannies for a little bit more dust to remove. Because now that we have opened it up, we want to clean it as good as possible. Because you don't want to do this every month or 6 months. I just disassemble the whole PC and do proper maintenance, because this is just standard maintenance to keep your PC working in a good order and making the components last a long time. Because the hotter all the processors gets, the shorter the lifetime will be. Now this number one the cooling unit, and this is one of the most important ones together with the video card, of course. Then just clean the little fan. Holding the fan with the vacuum cleaner works pretty good. It always cleans about more than 80%, and then just dust it off with a paintbrush and you're almost done. Second most important piece is gonna be the video card, of course. Everything needs to be gentle. Can we disassemble it? Getting that top plate off. To remove the top plate of the video card, to really clean it properly, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 screws where there's no possibility to get there, or I need to really disassemble the whole video card back end, and that's not how far I want to go. We're just going to clean it off the way it is and just try to get in between the cooling fans and the cooling unit and just clean it all up and get all the dust out of there. And 9 out of 10 times this does it. It's proper clean. It looks really clean. I'm not seeing any dust anymore. So that's component number 2. Now let's go to the video power supply. The wires are mostly disconnected. That's making it a lot easier. But this is a heavy piece and there's a lot of dust inside. And get yourself a moist cloth so you can clean off and dust off the cables. It works a little bit easier than vacuum them. And the same is with the outside case and maybe a little bit on the fans, because some of the dust is became really glued to the fan, so probably some kind of grease a little bit there. So just cleaning off the power supply, component number 3, going to the side. So we have cleaned the processors, the motherboard of the video card. Now we got some more fans that we have to clean out, and then we're going for the motherboard as the last. And of course we have our hard drive, but it's mostly completely cased in. There's not a lot of dust that can get in there, but maybe you can disconnect and reconnect the connections and make sure there's no corrosion. And the gold is really gold and shines nice and bright. That's really important. This is just, of course, again with the vacuum cleaner, we're just gonna vacuum all those cooling houses and using a paintbrush. So we did a couple of the cooling fans, but to get that cooling fan even cleaner, we have to get to the front of the cooling fan. So we have to disassemble the plastic front case. And that should be just by pulling it off. You can see I did it always a couple of times. The first time is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it's just as simple. And now you also can clean this inside a little bit, because also here there's cooling that needs to be proper and circling around to all the fans inside going out. Now it's time for the motherboard and just the whole thing, just getting everything down to the nitty gritty and getting it fully cleaned. And the cables, of course, just getting it out of the way, just making it life easier. All that mess, spaghetti mess. That also needs to be dusted off, of course, because there's also a lot of dust on these cables. And you need to be gentle, you don't want to break them. And if you don't know where to go, then make pictures before you disassemble them, so you know where all the leads are having to run to. Because I did it many times. I'm doing this every year, a couple of times, so this is an easy job for me. And let's go and clean it all out. And that was cleaning the whole PC. So we have cleaned the processor, the power supply, the video card, the motherboard, everything inside, all the cooling fans from in and outside. Only except the one thing that we didn't clean is, of course, yeah, the hard disk. There's just not a lot you can clean. There's no way to get inside. I'm just going to be dusting it off. That's it. And just have to, of course, dust off the cables. This is next. And then we're going to assemble it.